Hi, I'm Lauren Hamilton, accountant for therapist. Today I wanted to talk to you about retirement planning, especially for solo practice owners. I do want to preface this by saying I am not a financial advisor. I do not have any credentials to advise you on anything. These are just some of the common practices that I see with other therapy practice. And if you are interested in any of these suggestions, please talk to a professional financial advisor to get these set up for you. So, being a solo owner, you are limited to what retirement plans you can qualify for. So, I just kind of wanted to go through some of those today and to get you thinking about retirement planning because it is one thing that is very beneficial to not only you and your personal financial needs, but also your business because you could be taking some business deductions there, which will then ultimately lower your tax liability. So let's jump into more about this subject. So, a lot of times we don't think about retirement plans because it does feel overwhelming. It feels overwhelming to me as well. So, there's no set plan for a solo owner. And again, this is where it will be really beneficial to talk to a financial advisor to make sure they're looking at your situation and making sure that they're advising you on those right plans for your particular situation. It also just feels like this is another item on your plate and another decision, but let's just break it down a little bit so that way it doesn't feel as overwhelming. And again, as I say in most of my videos, consistency is really the key. So whatever plan you do choose, you're not locked into it. You do, however, want to be consistent with whatever plan you do choose and that you're making those contributions on a consistent basis. But let's talk more about it. So I think there is a big mindset shift that you kind of want to think through. Retirement planning is not all or nothing. There's not going to be a perfect plan. You really want to think about your situation right now and what is going to be right for you now. The plan that you pick today may not be the best plan for you in, several years, and that's okay. You do have the flexibility there of when you get to that point, being able to change your plan. But the main thing that you want to think about is just starting to save. We, as we live in America, need to think about what our retirement is going to look like and being able to live a comfortable lifestyle when we are ready to leave the work that we are doing now. So, one of the benefits about being a solo owner is that you're the employer and you're the employee. So, that means that you get to decide how much you're going to contribute, how much goes in, and how consistently that is, and what the frequency is of those contributions. So, while that may feel a little overwhelming, it should make you feel empowered because you're the one that's going to be setting that. Whereas if you were working for a company, they would then dictate those parameters. But being a solo owner, you get to have that power of being able to set those limits. Again, those limits are going to be determined on the plan that you pick. However, you do have that capability and autonomy to make those decisions for yourself. So let's talk about some common retirement options for solo practice owners. So those are typically going to be traditional or Roth IRAs. Those are, going to be the most simple and easier starting points into retirement planning. There's something called a SEP IRA, which is often used when your income is higher. There's also solo 401ks. These are a little bit more complex, but they do have more flexibility. So again, you're not looking at picking the right one. You just want to pick the one that is best for you right now. And again, that's where a financial advisor is going to be helpful in looking at your situation, at your income, and making sure that you're picking the right plan for you right now. So another thing we think about when we're doing retirement planning is just how much should you be saving? And like I mentioned before, this should be an empowering decision that you're going to make for yourself. So you want to make the decision based off of, again, what is right for you right now. Maybe you can only save $100 a month. And that's okay. That's what you can do right now. Maybe that'll be different later on down the road, but It's one of those things where you just want to start where you are currently. So again, that could be $100 a month. It could be 5% of your income, or, maybe you want to do it where as you're going through your quarterly estimated tax payments, maybe you want to look at it then and set aside what makes sense for you right then. Again, the main thing is consistency. You want to stick with a plan and make sure that you're keeping up with the frequency that you've set for it, and you want to stick to the plan. So, as we're talking about savings, the timing of those payments does matter. You can either make those monthly, sometimes you can also make a lump sum contribution. However, depending on the plan that you pick, you do have a deadline for when those contributions can be made for that tax year. And that's going to matter when it comes to tax planning. Because, like I said in the beginning, since you are the employer and the employee, as the practice makes any contributions based on you personally, those can be business deductions. But depending on the timing of when those payments are made, that's when you can include them on the current tax year's tax deduction. So since I mentioned taxes, let's talk more about that. So retirement contributions do come with tax advantages. That means that they can lower your taxable income, which in turns mean you will have a lower tax liability. And overall, it's just better long-term planning. If you know that you will have that expense year over year, then you can plan for that as you grow in your business. And especially if you hire people into your practice, so that would mean that you're out of the solo practice, then your plan options do change. And again, that's something that you would want to work with your financial advisor on. So here's some things that I see that people do when fear gets in the way. You're waiting until your income is high enough, and income high enough is a really ambiguous term. So what is that number? And again, like I said in the beginning of this video, if you can save $100 now, just save $100. Or maybe you can only save $50. That's fine too. Every little bit counts. You just want to be consistent with it. And, over time, those savings really do add up. Another fear thought is that it's too late to start. It's never too late to start. Again, that's where you want to work with a financial advisor, and they can give you the best strategy on when to start a plan, or, the timing of it, because again, some of these plans do have timelines. But the more you understand about that, the more or the less fear you're going to have around retirement planning. The other thing is that we can just overcomplicate the decision. Like I said, it's just about starting somewhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be the right plan for you during your whole practice journey, but it just needs to be something that is going to work for you right now. The other main thing is that it does feel intimidating. I myself feel intimidated about this because I'm not trained in this just like you are. So that's where I really recommend you reaching out to a financial advisor. But I do want you to be aware of your options that you have, so that way the intimidation of it does not keep you from making those business decisions that will ultimately give you a better retirement when you are ready to step away from running your practice. So just to kind of wrap up again, I know retirement planning can feel overwhelming and heavy and intimidating, but as long as you start small and start somewhere and start now, reach out to a financial advisor, get their opinion on what plan might work best for your practice, because again, it is going to have a lot of factors to depend on that. But again, it's a lot of times I don't see solo practice owners involved in retirement planning, and you could be leaving some really good business expenses on the table to lower your tax liability. And at the end of the day, that's really, the goal that we're trying to achieve is to minimize your tax liability. And so this is a good way to not only, save for your future, but to also save for your business now. I hope you found the information in this video helpful, and if you did, please like and share it with someone else who might find it helpful. Until next time, be well.